Okay, well, hi. Thank you
Hi,
for
Jamie.
hi. Thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed this series.
Thank
So,
you.
was there anywhere other than the book or the script that you were like you took inspiration from when you created the character as you worked on her?
We talked about, well, Emily, Lily, and we talked a lot together. Lily shared some lovely poetry actually, but also we watched Ingrid a documentary called Ingrid Bergman in Her Own Words, which was really useful because it was useful from both Fanny and Linda's perspective because um, it discussed Ingrid's life and her career and her choices, and she made a choice to live without her children, and um, and so it talks from her feelings of never wanting to be tied down or kind of wanting to feel a certain freedom. And she also was quite vilified for it, and it damaged her career a lot. But she was, you know, but also it interviews her children and their kind of different feelings about it, and their kind of how much they missed her and their feelings of loss about that. But also they had a sort of admiration for her as well, and kind of knew that's how she was and that's how she felt she needed to be, and so an acceptance from them. So it was sort of it was both sides of that, which was really interesting because obviously, as you know, Linda does that. She leaves her child, but also Fanny was abandoned by her mother as a child. So that's something she really tussles with, and that shapes a lot of the choices that she makes later, and later on affects their friendship. Um, so, yes, that. And of course, I guess the source material, and mainly talking to Emily, really. And she had so many interesting perspectives and ideas. And Emily's got this natural honesty, and that was so helpful to bringing alive sort of whatever secrets or whatever things that the girls were kind of what was going on with them and between them and all that sort of stuff. I think Emily's great with friendship, and obviously she created Doll and M, and it's a topic that clearly seems to interest her a lot. So, um, yes, I think it was, yeah,
Okay.
um, yeah.
Obviously, this show's about the two finding love, but so much more. I mean,
Mm,
how important do you think it is the friendship between the two of them? Because I feel like that's even more
yeah,
integral than
yes.
the love interests.
Yeah, we were talking about how enriching and how important friendships are. They're probably the most important relationships you have in your life, and they follow you around. And even if you make, follow you around, I mean, they're always in your life. And even if you make very different choices to your friends, it's sort of like you can experience different things through your friends, or if they've made different choices to you, and you learn from each other, and you also support each other in that kind of understanding, that always that forgiveness and understanding and being seen, being loved no matter what you do. Or for instance, Linda is vilified for a while and feels like she's a scorned woman and alone, and but Fanny always loves her and always sees her for, the friend from childhood that she's always been, and always seen her as an innocent, as she says. But so I think in turn, Linda always knows Fanny's more kind of adventurous side, and which I think Fanny appreciates, and it brings that side of her out, more of a freedom in Fanny out. So, yes, I think the friendship is so important, and how it evolves as well, and which was really interesting, depending on how their lives, each of their individual lives, how they changed, and how that really kind of pushes their dynamic around a bit, and they can't they're real push and pull between them. They're like strangers and then glue, and then back and forth. And yes, I think it's also about life and pursuing life and identity and purpose and figuring out who it is you are. And they are women figuring out what on earth it means to be, their femininity means, or and who they want to be, where they want to go. There's so many things, I think, but friendship, yes, is at the root of it.
I A lot of the movie, well, obviously they both spend time being jealous of each other, but Fanny is kind of jealous of her, being free and all that. But do you think by the
Mm.
end she finally is happy and like realizes that what she has with her family is something that,
Hmm.
has worth in that, because she finally,
Yeah.
it seems to, but
Yes. I feel like she gains a lot of understanding when she gets older, and she's sort of kind of she has more understanding for her mother, which she really was struggling with throughout that whole thing, or what her opinion doesn't really know what her opinions or feelings are on the fact that her mother left her and who her mother is, and her mother goes from man to man, and she really has a real barrier with her mother for a lot of it until at the end she is kind of more open to her and gets to see her from a different side and deeper understanding, as Fanny is also a mother herself now and has experienced a lot more. But yes, I think there's a real transition and journey for Fanny along the way, and she does kind of some minute think, oh crap, I made a terrible mistake. What have I done? And then other times she's deeply appreciative of her beautiful home and her family and her that she has, and the fact that she has treasured her education and she's going to pursue what she wants to do. I think it really helps that she starts writing at the end because she really finds her voice and her kind of journey, or she can express herself better through that. So, because she's probably a bit shyer. So, I think when, as soon as she really starts to doing that, and I think is possibly driven by her love for Linda and the legend of Linda, wonderful Linda. So I think she's sort of, yeah. So
can you talk about working with the hair and costumes? She's got some great period
yes,
pieces.
yes, I think they're really helpful. Most of the time, try to ignore them, but also it's. I mean, in the beginning, it is very well. It's helpful. It obviously really informs how you feel and how you move, and obviously what your character's choices are, but also at the same time trying to kind of feel that the period is not unusual, obviously. But but I think also the fact that they're quite tight and they can be quite uncomfortable as well. I think that is also helpful. I always find that helpful actually in period dramas because, of course, the women were quite repressed and couldn't physically move as well as couldn't move as well as the men. I mean, just envy a man who can wear a pair of trousers and spread his legs or just like move around. But um, 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 so it's very helpful for that. But at the same time, also they're very beautiful, and it's lovely to put on these gorgeous outfits and be in these amazing sets. Um, um, and of course, men and women dress so differently then, um, which we still do slightly, but I mean less so. But yeah.
So did you have the chemistry right away with Lily? Can you kind of talk about, building that?
Yes. Well, at first we had Zoom meetings because that was when the COVID pandemic had just kicked off. It just like exploded when right as soon as we were supposed to start, and we had to get delayed by a couple of months. Um, uh, yeah, so we could only talk by Zoom with Emily and Lily, and we shared things that inspired us. We actually had a WhatsApp group as well, and we shared things, and we also talked a lot about just like all the things and all the feelings and the kind of journey that the girls were on individually. And so I think the first time Lily and I met each other when I first came to talk about the job before I had the job, and that was really lovely. And but the thing is also I know lots of mutual. We have mutual friends. It's quite a small industry in a way, maybe in England. So I have lots of friends who know her, and also I knew that she is a very she's quite a vivacious and a warm character, so it would be easy, really, because she's got a lot of the natural lovely qualities of Linda, which is kind of this sort of effervescent kind of exciting quality. So it's easy to think that Fanny could fall in love with her. So it's and get sort of carried away with her. So so yeah, I think we just had to really dive right in, to be honest. It was very intense, sort of like a roller coaster, really, for the girls. It was more so for Linda because she's obviously at the peaks of euphoria or the depths of despair, whereas Fanny's a bit more like that. But yeah, no, we just had to really just jump in, to be honest.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And like I said, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So
Oh, thank you. Nice to talk to you.
have a good day. Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye.